Students, once again we have a look of the last class, and after that we will start the class. Still some students are joining. Okay. Okay, students, last class I think you might have studied structure of that you have gone through the class notes, structure of glucose, molecular formula C6H12O6, and how we have confirmed the structure of glucose means that is presence of straight chain reacting with the hydrogen iodide. So we have confirmed that glucose is having the 6 carbon chain which are arranged in the linear fashion. Presence of carbonyl group, it has been that is confirmed by reaction with the hydroxylamine as well as hydrogen cyanide. Okay, presence of carbonyl group. After that, presence of aldehyde group. Presence of aldehyde group that is confirmed by treating glucose with bromine water. Bromine water will release nascent oxygen, and thereby what you are going to get? You are going to get that is carboxylic acid. Uh, okay, and gluconic acid you are going to get. And presence of five groups. Presence of five groups has been confirmed. How it has been confirmed by presence of five groups? When glucose is reacting with the acetic anhydride, we got the pentaacetyl derivative. So the formation of pentaacetyl derivative confirms that glucose is having the 5 OH groups. And primary presence of primary alcohol group. So how we have confirmed the presence of primary alcohol group? So glucose upon treatment with the concentrated nitric acid. So what you are going to get? You are going to get a saccharic acid. So due to the formation of saccharic acid, we confirm that glucose is having primary alcoholic group. Total glucose is having the that is 5. Okay. Total glucose is having that is 5 OH groups. Under the, in that 4 OH groups are that is secondary and 1 OH group is primary. Understood, students? Okay. Next, in today's class, let us discuss about the that is. So this is a that is tabular column so that it will be very easy for you. I hope everybody is seeing a tabular column. Okay. So this tabular column will shows that is glucose is reacting with the which compound and what is the product and what we confirm by reaction with that compound. Okay. So in the first one you can see that is glucose is reacting with the hydrogen iodide. Glucose is reacting with the hydrogen iodide. When glucose is reacting with the hydrogen iodide, okay, what we are going to get? We are going to get a compound called N-hexane. Okay, so it confirms. What does it confirms? Glucose is having the straight chain, presence of straight chain, because N-hexane is having the that is 6 carbons which are arranged in the linear fashion, and thereby the glucose all 6 carbons contains straight chain. Next, second one, you see that glucose is reacting with which one? Hydroxylamine, NH2OH. So when glucose is reacting with the hydroxylamine, what is the product, students, you are going to get? You are going to get a product called oxime. Okay, so this reaction shows that it tells that it confirms that glucose is having the carbonyl group. Glucose is having the carbonyl group. Next, if you see the third row, in third row, the glucose is reacting with the hydrogen cyanide. And what is the product we are going to get? We are going to get a product called cyanohydrin derivative. This reaction also shows the presence of, confirms the carbonyl group is present. In fourth one, in fourth row, you can see the glucose is reacting with the bromine water. Okay. So this, when glucose is reacting with bromine water, glucose will undergo oxidation. Okay. So thereby glucose will convert to gluconic acid. So this reaction proves that glucose is having the aldehyde group. Okay, that carbonyl group which is present in glucose is aldehyde group. Next, in fifth row, you can see clearly that glucose is reacting with the acetic anhydride. So when glucose is reacting with acetic anhydride, what is the product we are going to get? Pentaacetyl derivative. So this pentaacetyl derivative formation confirms the glucose is having that is 5 OH groups. And in the last one, the glucose is reacting with concentrated nitric acid. When glucose is reacting with concentrated nitric acid, the product what we are going to get is saccharic acid. Saccharic acid is an acid which contains 2 carboxylic acid groups above as well as below of the molecule, and the middle will be having the that is CHOH groups. And thereby this reaction will prove that it confirms that in glucose there is a presence of one primary alcoholic group, that which you can see in the bottom. Okay, students, so this is the tabular column. This tabular column will give you a good information, because based on this tabular column, you will be getting questions in board examinations as well as in the competitive examinations also. Okay, in board examination for 1 mark questions or 2 mark questions, they might be asking what is the reaction of glucose with hydroxylamine. What is the product? What does it confirms? Okay, students. Now let us go further. That is next one. So far we have discussed that is the structure of glucose. Now it is a time we have to assign the configuration of glucose. Now we have to assign the configuration of glucose. I think I hope up to that now. Shall we go to the that is configuration of glucose? Up to this, any doubts, students? No doubts are there. No? This tabular column is clear, right, students? This tabular column is clear or not? Okay, this tabular column is clear. Fine. Next, this tabular column also I will upload in the WhatsApp. Okay, so that you can copy in your notes. Oh, no problem. Okay, I will upload this in WhatsApp. This tabular column also you can write in the notes. Okay, fine, students. Next, let us go to the. So we have discussed about the structure of glucose. Okay, students. So now we have to discuss about the that is configuration of glucose. Now we have to assign the configuration of glucose. How can we assign the configuration of glucose? What do you mean by the configuration? See, students, already in the starting class, I said these sugars are classified into that is trioses, tetroses, pentoses, and hexoses. So there is a special type of nomenclature called D and L nomenclature. There is a special type of nomenclature called D and L nomenclature. This type of nomenclature, D and L, capital D and capital L nomenclature is there. This type of nomenclature we are giving for the that is tetroses, aldoses, that is tetroses, trioses, pentoses, and hexoses. Okay, this configuration we are giving for tetroses, that is pentoses, hexoses, and all these compounds we are giving this configuration. That means especially we are giving this configuration for sugar molecules. Okay, so let us start with the that is a triose. Okay, let us start with the triose. Triose means it is containing the that is 3 carbon atoms. Okay, so 3 carbon atom triose will be there. So how can we give the configuration for the a triose? So before going to give the configuration of a triose, so first of all, let us take a molecule called glyceraldehyde. What do you mean by the glyceraldehyde, students? So this is the glyceraldehyde molecule. Okay, glyceraldehyde means, so this is the glyceraldehyde molecule. Okay, so here glyceraldehyde means you might have known about the glycols and glycerols. What are glycols, students? First, so you have to remember glycols. What is meant by glycols? Glycols means, okay, so the compound which containing two OH groups, compound which containing two alcohol groups, that we are calling it as glycols. Okay, glycols means the compounds which containing two alcohol groups. What is meant by glycerols? Glycerols means the compound which containing that is three OH groups. The compound is having three OH groups, that we are calling it as glycols. Glycerols. Okay. Example for glycols I will say. Okay. I will write one example for glycol. So this is the example for one glycol. So this we are calling it as glycol. Why we are calling this as glycol, students? Because it is having two OH groups. That's why we are calling it as glycol. So can anybody tell the IUPAC name for this one? The common name I will write. Common name for this one is ethylene glycol. Ethylene glycol. Okay. Can anybody say the IUPAC name for this one, students? Students, IUPAC name for this one? Or anybody? IUPAC name you can say. What is the IUPAC name for this one? Okay, ethane. Okay, 1,2 diol. Yes, that is correct. Keep it up, Muhammad Moinuddin. Ethane 1,2 diol, because when you are naming the giving the compound IUPAC name, it is mandatory. You have to give the numbering. Okay, ethane 1,2 diol is correct. Yes, keep it up. And Deepika also. Yes, keep it up, Deepika. Ethane 1,2 diol. Okay, and next let us go for the glycerol. Now you understood what is glycol I have given, and glycerol. Glycerol, what is the glycerol? Okay, we have the compound like this CH2OH. Glycerol means which will be having the three OH groups. Okay, so this is a glycerol. This is an glycerol. Okay, a compound which containing three OH groups. IUPAC name is it is same. Propane 1, comma 2, comma 3 trioles. Propane 1, comma 2, comma 3 triol is the IUPAC name for this. Okay, now let us see this one, students. Okay, so that is the next. What is meant by glyceraldehyde? What is meant by glyceraldehyde now? So here, if you are taking the that is glyceraldehyde. Okay, glyceraldehyde is a derivative from the glycerol. Glyceraldehyde is derivative from the glycerol. How can you say the glyceraldehyde is derivative from the glycerol? Means see, you can see here. So this is glycerol. Okay, this one is glycerol. Glyceraldehyde means, okay, so you see compare the structures, okay, of glycerol as well as glyceraldehyde. What you can observe here. Okay, so this is same. Okay, this is same. CHOH, CHOH, and CH2OH. The functional group is varying. In glyceraldehyde, you will be having the which group, students? You will be having the aldehyde group. You will be having the aldehyde group. So this is our aldehyde group. This is aldehyde group. That's why we are calling it as it is glycerol. So glyceraldehyde. This we are calling it as glyceraldehyde. This we are calling it as glycerol. Okay, students. Now you understood what is glycol, what is glycerol, and what is glyceraldehyde. Glycol is a compound which contains two OH groups. Glycerol is a compound which contains three OH groups. Okay, so if you are replacing this CH2OH, if you are replacing this with CH2OH with CHO, if you are replacing this CH2OH in glycerol with CHO, that compound we are calling it as glyceraldehyde. Right, students? Now you know what is meant by glyceraldehyde. How many carbon atoms are present in glyceraldehyde? In glyceraldehyde, we are having the three carbon atoms. How many carbon atoms are present? Three carbon atoms. So in these three carbon atoms, one carbon atom is an asymmetric carbon. One carbon atom is an asymmetric carbon. What do you mean by asymmetric carbon? Asymmetric carbon is a carbon which is having that is four different groups attached to it. That we are calling it as that is asymmetric carbon atom. Asymmetric carbon atom is a carbon atom which is attached with the four different groups that we are calling it as asymmetric carbon atom. Okay, so here by taking this glyceraldehyde, we are assigning the structures. By taking this glyceraldehyde, we are assigning the configuration of the that is our glucose. We are assigning the configuration of the glucose. How can we assign the configuration of the glucose? By taking this glyceraldehyde. Okay, students. Now, by taking this glyceraldehyde, we are assigning the configuration. That means which configuration it is, glucose is having D configuration or L configuration that we are assigning. Right, students? So here, this is the asymmetric carbon present in the glyceraldehyde. This is the asymmetric carbon. So this carbon is attached to four different groups, right? You can see this is different group hydrogen, OH is different group, and CHO is different group, and CH2OH is different. Okay, so this is an asymmetric carbon. Okay, and I am naming it as D plus glyceraldehyde. What is this D and what is this plus? So why we can't say it is normal glyceraldehyde? Why we are calling it as D plus glyceraldehyde? Why we are calling this as L minus glyceraldehyde? Okay, so in your that is mobile screen, you can see there are two glyceraldehydes on the screen. One is D plus glyceraldehyde, other is L minus glyceraldehyde. What is this D plus glyceraldehyde? What is this L minus glyceraldehyde? Okay, so here why there are two glyceraldehydes are existing. Okay, why we need to write D plus? Why we need to write L minus glyceraldehyde? So here a D plus. So first of all, let us illustrate what is meant by this D. D when we are giving means when we are giving this D configuration, students, we are giving that. Okay, when we are giving this D configuration, we are giving this that is configuration. Okay, we are giving this configuration when this OH group and CH2OH. This is the last asymmetric carbon. Okay, this is asymmetric carbon. Okay, and this OH group. You can see this one, this OH group and this CH2OH group. OH group and CH2OH group. When these two groups are present at right side, when these two OH groups are present at right side, then we are giving the configuration called D. Then we are giving the configuration called D. Okay. Now coming to this one, L minus glycerol here. When we are giving this configuration. So when we are giving this configuration, students, you can see the OH group as well as the CH2OH group. OH group and CH2OH group. These two groups, okay, this OH group and CH2 groups, these two groups are present different directions. One is present at right side, other is present at left side. Then we are giving the configuration called EL. Okay, so now you understood that. Okay, what is D and what is L? Now, then what is this plus and minus? What is this plus and minus? Okay, what is this plus and minus? Plus is nothing but dextro compound and minus is nothing but levo compound. What is plus? Plus means dextro rotatory. Plus means dextro rotatory. Okay, and minus means, what is minus here? Minus means levo rotatory. What is this dextrorotatory and levorotatory? Okay, that is what is this dextrorotatory and levorotatory? So you might have known that there is a compound, there is a property called optical activity. So what is meant by optical activity, students? Can anybody say what is meant by optical activity compound? What is meant by optical activity? Optical activity. So optical activity is this is a special property of organic compounds. Okay, inorganic compounds also will show optical activity, but very less compounds like coordination compounds. In that, very few compounds will show optical activity. We will be studying the optical activity in inorganic chemistry in a chapter called coordination compounds that you will be studying again the ninth chapter. So coming to organic part, what is meant by optical activity? Ability to rotate plane polarized light. Yes, Mujib, that is correct. What you have said. Ability to rotate plane polarized light, that we are calling it as optical activity. So, what is meant by plane polarized light? First of all, what is meant by, you are all physics students, so you might have been knowing about the plane polarized light. So, plane polarized light. What is meant by plane polarized light? That means the light which is oscillating in one direction. That we are calling it as plane polarized light. So, I will draw the simple diagram in order to illustrate about that is plane polarized light. So first of all, let us take that is normal bulb. First of all, let us take the normal bulb. Okay, so the bulb which is used in our household purposes, this normal bulb. Okay, so this is normal bulb. Okay, students, this is normal bulb. And inside bulb, what you can see, students, inside the bulb, you can see it is filament. You can see the filament like this. Filament is present. This is the normal bulb we have. Okay. So now this is the filament. So whenever you will switch on the bulb, you can see the light in every corners. You can see the light in the every corners. Why you can see the light in the every corners? Because the light which is coming from the bulb will travel in all directions like this. Okay. So this is what we are calling it as non-plane polarized light. What is this one? Non-plane polarized light. What do you mean by non-plane polarized light? The light which is traveled in all directions, that we are calling it as non-plane polarized. Okay. This non-plane polarized light, okay, when we are passing through a filter or polarizer. So let us take this a filter or polarizer, anything. So filter or polarizer. So here what is happening means this filter will absorb light in all directions. This filter will absorb light in all directions and it will transmit the light only in one direction. Okay, it will absorb light in all directions and it will make light to transmit only in one direction like this. Now this we are calling it as plane polarized light. This we are calling it as plane polarized light. Okay, this plane polarized light we are passing through the test solution. That means here we are keeping a compartment. In this compartment we are taking a compound, whether that compound is having optical activity or not. In order to test the optical activity of the compound, we are keeping that compound solution in this. Okay. we are dissolving that compound in a suitable solvent, and we are passing this plane polarized light in that compound. And if this compound is having the optical activity, what is optical activity? The ability to rotate the plane polarized light, that we are calling it as optical activity. That means the compound which is showing optical activity, either it may rotate the plane polarized light to the right side direction or may it rotate to the left side direction. Now our D-glyceraldehyde here I have taken. We have taken the, let us assume that we have took, that is D plus glyceraldehyde. So when we are taking that this D plus glyceraldehyde solution, so it is, which one it is? It is a dextro compound. Okay, it is a dextro compound, right? So it is a dextro compound. Because of dextro compound, okay, plus I said it is a dextro compound. Because of dextro compound, this plane polarized light will rotate to the right side direction. Rotate to the right side direction to the certain angle. Okay, it will rotate to the right side direction to the certain angle. So it is rotate to the right side direction. That's why we are giving the configuration plus. That's why we are giving the configuration plus. Okay. And if suppose if you are taking the L minus glyceraldehyde, if you are taking the L minus glyceraldehyde in this compartment, okay, it will rotate the plane polarized to the which side direction, students? It will rotate to the left side direction. It will rotate to the left side direction. That's why we are calling it as levorotatory. Levorotatory. Okay, students. Now I think you might have understood what is meant by optical activity and what is meant by, that is, dextrorotatory, and what is meant by levorotatory. Optical activity is nothing but certain organic compounds is having the ability to rotate the plane polarized light. Then organic compounds will have the ability to rotate the plane polarized light. So it may rotate to the, that is, right side direction, or it may rotate to the left side direction. Suppose if we are rotating, that compound is rotating, that is, to the right side direction, means that compound we are calling as dextrorotatory. If it is rotating to the left side, means that compound we are calling it as levorotatory. So I took the example, if we are keeping in compartment D plus glyceraldehyde, means it will rotate to the right side direction. If I am keeping it L minus glyceraldehyde, means it will rotate to the left side direction. Now I will ask the question, if we are keeping D plus glyceraldehyde as well as L minus glyceraldehyde in the same compartment, okay, then how, where the plane polarized light, how it will rotate? Okay, so if you are keeping D plus glyceraldehyde as well as L minus glyceraldehyde in the, that is in same, that is in the same compartment, mixture of D plus glyceraldehyde and L minus glyceraldehyde, then how it will rotate the plane polarized light? How it will rotate the plane polarized light? Tell students. No, it depend. It not depends on concentration. Actually, here, if you are keeping the equal mixture of, if you are keeping the equal mixture of D plus glyceraldehyde as well as L minus glyceraldehyde, the rotations is going to get cancelled, and thereby the plane polarized light, it won't rotate. Okay, because D plus glyceraldehyde will rotate to the certain angle, say 50 degrees. L minus glyceraldehyde also will rotate the angle to say 50 degrees. So 50 plus 50 degrees and minus 50 degrees both will get cancelled, and thereby the rotation won't takes place. That we are calling it as Besmic mixture. Understood, students? Okay, fine, students. Next, so here, uh, if we are taking this like this, just a minute, connection has went off. Once again, I'll share the screen. Okay, students, now I think are you able to see the screen, students? Students are now are you able to see the screen, students? Students, now are you able to hear audio and video? Okay, fine, fine, students. Sometimes the connection may go off, and At that time, other people will be host, and it will take time to get me a host. Okay, students. Now we are going to get that is D plus glyceraldehyde as well as the L minus glyceraldehyde. Okay. So here, so what is this D plus glyceraldehyde and L plus glyceraldehyde? This what we are calling it as. This we are calling it as. There is a one term is there. Okay. In order to that is say about D plus glyceraldehyde and L minus glyceraldehyde. What are these two? There is one specific term is there, students. Can you say about this? What is D plus glyceraldehyde and L minus glyceraldehyde? Both are isomers. Why this? Because both are having the same molecular form. Three carbons, three carbons. And hydrogens, how many are there? Hydrogens 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Both are having 6. So what is the name it is having? Both are having this one. Okay, dextro and levo is dex. I am saying together what this D plus glyceraldehyde and L minus glyceraldehyde I am asking. Okay, together I am asking. I am not asking what is D plus glyceraldehyde. It is dextro. I said, and L minus glyceraldehyde is levo. I am not asking about that one. Together, what this D plus glyceraldehyde and L minus glyceraldehyde, what we are calling it as. There is one specific term is there, students. Can you say what is this one D plus glyceraldehyde and L minus glyceraldehyde? These two we are calling it as enantiomers. These two we are calling it as enantiomers. Okay. So what is meant by enantiomers, students? Enantiomers are nothing but enantiomers are nothing but these are the that is non-superimposable mirror images. Non-superimposable mirror images that we are calling it as enantiomers. Okay. You will learn more about enantiomers. Okay, you will so here these are the enantiomers, non-superimposable mirror images. Okay, that we are calling it as enantiomers. So these two are non-superimposable mirror images. These two are non-superimposable mirror images. So why I will say this? See here, I will once again why these two are the non-superimposable mirror images. Okay, which will have the ability to rotate the that is plane polarized light. This we are calling it as enantiomers. Okay, students. Now here so now we have to assign the configuration of glucose. How can we assign the configuration of glucose? Let us compare the structure of D plus glyceraldehyde as well as the D plus glucose. Fine, students. Now I am comparing the structure of glyceraldehyde as well as the glucose structure. Please see carefully. Okay. So that you will be understood very easily. So here I am drawing the structure of that is our glucose. Okay. Now I am comparing this glucose structure with the glyceraldehyde structure. Okay. Okay, students. Now you can see. So first I will draw the that is glyceraldehyde structure, students. This is glyceraldehyde. Aldehyde group is present. It is having three carbon chain. Glyceraldehyde is having left side the second carbon, the left side hydrogen is attached, right side OH is there, and below you can see the CH2 OH group is present. Okay, this is our D plus glyceraldehyde. Okay, D plus glyceraldehyde. D plus glyceraldehyde. Okay, students. Now, beside this, I am going to draw that is glucose structure or glucose structure. Fine. So, glucose is also having the aldehyde group. CHO is present. And C, second carbon, H, OH, right side OH. And third carbon, you can see that is CHO. Otherwise, I will draw the structure somewhat upside so that we can compare the structure very easily. The D plus glyceraldehyde. Some little bit upside, I will draw the structure, so that you can understand here. So first in glucose also you will be having the aldehydic carbon, and second carbon you can see left side hydrogen, right side OH is present. Third carbon, left side OH group is there. Okay, students, very important. Right side H is there. Fourth carbon, left side hydrogen, right side OH group. Fifth carbon, same hydrogen and OH. Sixth carbon CH2. CH2. Now I will ask one basic question by seeing this glucose structure. Students, how many asymmetric carbons are present in this D plus glucose? Okay, how many asymmetric carbons are present in the glucose structure? By seeing this structure, please, you find out how many asymmetric carbons are present. how many asymmetric carbons are present. You see the structure of glucose, students, and how many asymmetric carbons are present. So here, the number of asymmetric carbons. So number of asymmetric carbons already I said. Asymmetric carbon means the carbon which is attached to 4 different groups. Asymmetric carbons, one more name is a chiral carbon, asymmetric or chiral carbon. Okay, please make note. Asymmetric or chiral carbon, both are same. Okay, asymmetric carbon is a carbon which is attached to 4 different groups. Chiral carbon is a carbon which is attached to 4 different groups. Okay, so I will show the how many asymmetric carbons are present. So here in this glucose, you can see this is first asymmetric carbon because it's attached to 4 different groups. Above aldehyde group, left side hydrogen, right side OH, below this entire moiety, and this is also an asymmetric carbon. This is also 4 asymmetric carbons. Okay, students. Now you see the students, that is the last asymmetric carbon. Okay, last asymmetric carbon means what is the position of that carbon in the chain, students? Last asymmetric carbon means what is the position of that carbon in the chain? Okay, the last asymmetric carbon I am saying, the last asymmetric carbon, yes, it is fifth. Good, Sai Charan, keep it, Sri Charan, keep it up. Fifth, the last asymmetric carbon means fifth carbon. Sixth one is not asymmetric carbon because it is attached to 2 same groups, that is CH2. Okay, the last asymmetric carbon, OH group is present at which side, student? For the last asymmetric carbon, see the diagram, see the structure. The OH group is present at which side? For the last asymmetric carbon, the OH group is present at, that is, it is present at right side. It is present at the right side. Okay, the OH group is present at the right side. So here, the OH group is present at the right side. Down also the CH2 OH group. There also you can see the OH group is present at the right side only. It is also present at the right side. Both is present at the right side. Now you see the students. You can compare this, that is with the D plus glyceraldehyde structure. You can see in D plus glyceraldehyde, you can see here, students. This carbon is here. Okay, and here also you can see. You can compare these two structures. In glyceraldehyde also, the OH is, this is the last asymmetric carbon in the glyceraldehyde. This is the last asymmetric carbon in the glyceraldehyde. Here also the OH group is at right side to the CH2OH. The OH group is, the OH group of last asymmetric carbon is right side to the CH2OH. Here also the last asymmetric carbon of glucose is right side to the CH2OH. Now these two structures are same or not? Down below. Okay, the last asymmetric carbon is CH2OH and the last asymmetric carbon of glucose and CH2OH. Both are having the same or not? Okay, so both are having the same. So both are having the same ambiguity. So that's why we are assigning this configuration as D. We are giving this configuration as D for this one. Okay, for our glucose. Okay, for our glucose. So this, this is a glucose molecule. Okay, students. Just a minute, I will take time to just rub this one board. Okay, just a minute, students. Now you can see. Okay. So now we are assigning the configuration, whether we have to assign which configuration, students. Now we have to assign D configuration or L configuration. We have to assign the D configuration. Okay. So now we are assigning the D configuration. Why we are assigning D configuration? Because both are having the same. See here, student. Both are having the same. Or glyceraldehyde as well. So we are first we are calling this as D. Okay. Next, we have to assign the sign. Which sign we have to assign? Plus sign or minus sign? We have to assign plus only for this one because glucose is dextrorotatory compound. Glucose is dextrorotatory compound. Understood, students? Okay, so by seeing the OH group of the last asymmetric carbon to the CH2OH, we are assigning the configuration. So now we can see that is D plus glyceraldehyde as well as D plus glucose. Like this, we have to assign the configuration, students. Okay, D configuration as well as L configuration. How we have to assign means we have to see the OH group, position of OH group of the last asymmetric carbon. How that OH group is present to the CH2OH. If that OH of the last asymmetric carbon is right side to the CH2OH group, which is present at the bottom, that we are calling it as D configuration. Suppose if the last OH group is last asymmetric carbon OH group is left side to the bottom CH2OH group means then we have to assign L configuration. I hope you understood, students. If you have any queries, I will give 1 minute time or 2 minutes time. Please say in the chat box, students, so that I will come to know what queries we have. Students, I hope you understood, all of you, how to assign D as well as L configuration. Okay, students. If you have any queries, you can say in the chat box, students. Okay. Okay, students. Students, first. Okay, students. And this how we are have to assign the conflict. So, students, for your convenience, okay, I am uploading this that is videos in my YouTube channel, that is Chemistry Bulletin. So you can see that is okay. You can see this recorded videos already. Who are that earlier classes videos I have kept in YouTube. You can see in this channel. So if you want the earlier classes, means I have kept in my YouTube channel. This is my YouTube channel, students. Because I am seeing many of the students connection has having problem. Some students are complaining that my voice is not audible. So if you want to see this videos, means I will upload. Okay. Yes, I will upload. Okay, students, so that you can have a look. Okay, fine, students. Next. Okay, students, next. Let us go further. That is. Okay, next one we can have, that is. So we completed, we have assigned the structure of glucose. We have assigned the structure of glucose. Okay, in the last class, we have, that is, we have discussed about that is the last class we have discussed the structure. Now in today's class, we have assigned the structure D plus glucose. Fine, students. Now let us go for that is next topic, that is cyclic structure of glucose. Next topic is cyclic structure of glucose. Okay, one student is asking, sir, D plus and L minus is named by clockwise and anti-clockwise rotation. Okay, Muzib, you have asked very good question. Okay, so here this D and L configuration we can assign by seeing the molecule. First thing is D and L rotations. D and L are rotations. Students, once again I am making it clear because many students are confusing. Okay, I will make it clear. D means it is configuration, students. Okay, D is what we are calling this as D is configuration, students. This D we are calling it as configuration. Configuration or notation. Configuration or notation. D we are calling it as configuration or notation. And what is this plus? Plus means we are calling it as sign it is. Okay, plus is sign. So both are different, students. Don't get confused. D we are calling it as configuration. D we are calling it as configuration or notation. We are calling it as configuration or notation, and plus what we are calling it as, plus we are calling it as sign, plus we are calling it as sign. Understood, students? D. Okay, both are different. Okay, configuration we can assign by seeing the molecule. Configuration we can that is we can see by assigning by seeing the molecule. Configuration or notation we can see by seeing the molecule. Okay, and plus and minus. Okay, plus and minus that we can assign by seeing the optical rotation. Plus and minus we can see by seeing the optical rotation. Plus and minus we can see by the optical rotation. That is students. Okay, D and L, these letters we are giving by seeing the molecule. If OH is a group is at right side, means D notation. If it is left side means L notation. Plus and minus that we can't see by, but we can't give that signs by seeing the molecule. Plus and minus is experimental value. Plus and minus is experimental. By conducting the experiment only, we can assign the plus and minus value. Understood? By it is not theoretical one. D and L is theoretical. Why means by seeing the molecule, we can say which is D configuration, which is L configuration based upon the OH groups. Whereas this plus and minus we are assigning by experimental one, by performing the experiment after doing the experiment only. But by seeing the molecule, we are not given this one. Okay, students. So I am making it clear. This D configuration we are giving, it is theoretical one by seeing the molecule. Plus and minus, it is experimental one. By doing experiment only, we can assign which is it is dextrorotatory or levorotatory. Okay, and moreover, you should not confused with that is D means dextro and L means levo. That is also not correct, students. I will explain, students. Dextrorotatory means we have to give D sign, small d we have to give. Dextro means we have to give the small d. Okay. Levo means we have to give that is L, that is small l. Understood, students? Here many students will get confused. Okay, capital D means they will be thinking it is dextrorotatory. No, students, that is not correct. And capital L means they will think it is levorotatory. That is also not correct. Okay, students. Okay, so here once again I will make it clear. Students, let us see here D. Okay, and plus. Understood? So this is what we are calling it as. This D we are calling it as, that is configuration. It is configuration, and plus we are calling it as dextro. This sign we are calling it as dextrorotatory. There are other compounds also there, students. D minus also we have. Okay, here D is also configuration here, configuration or rotation, and minus means we are calling it as levorotatory. Levorotatory. Okay, students. And finally, our glucose, which is having which configuration, students? It is having D configuration. And it is dextro or levorotatory, students? It is dextrorotatory. Finally, glucose can be written as, what we can write glucose? We can write glucose as D plus glucose. We can write it as D plus glucose. I hope everybody will understand. Understood, students? Capital D, Deepika, capital D you have to keep, not small d. Capital D plus glucose, not small d. Understood? Okay, capital D is configuration. Plus means it is dextro. Okay, fine, students. Okay. Students, how to find configuration, sir? I said no. How to find configuration means by seeing the OH groups. Okay, if the two OH groups are at right side means D. If one is at right, other is left means it is L configuration. Okay, understood? I hope you. Next. Okay, students. Now let us that is go for the other structure of glucose. That is now I am going to discuss about the cyclic structure of glucose. Very important. So you might have asked one question. So what is the need to discuss about the cyclic structure of glucose? Already we have discussed the structure of glucose outside. What we have discussed in the yesterday's class, that is open chain structure of glucose. That is open chain structure of glucose. Then what is the cyclic structure of glucose, sir? You can ask. Why we have to learn two structures? For a compound, how it is possible there are two structures are there? You can ask us. So what is the need to study about that is cyclic structure of glucose? Yes, there is a need to study about the cyclic structure of glucose. Okay. So here I will draw that is cyclic structure of, because open chain structure of glucose didn't explain some some experimental phenomena. It doesn't explain some characteristics of aldehyde. So they have some drawbacks. Okay, in the first year you might have studied Rutherford's theory, Bohr's atomic model theory, and there is J.J. Thomson atomic model theory. You have studied all atomic theories. Why you have studied atomic theory means we should have one. Why you have studied three atomic theories? What is the need to, why you have studied three atomic theories students in first year? In first PUC, why you have studied three atomic theories? J.J. Thomson atomic model, Rutherford atomic model, Bohr's atomic model. Why you have studied? Because the atomic model is having drawbacks. In order to explain the drawbacks, one more atomic theory has put forward. One more atomic theory has put forward. Like that's why we have 2 to 3 atomic theories. J. Thomson atomic model, Dalton's atomic model, Rutherford's atomic model, Bohr's atomic model. So like this, we have atomic models because why means the early atomic theories doesn't explain. It doesn't explain some characteristics phenomena. Here also the same thing, students. The so far what we have discussed, the open chain structure of glucose in the yesterday's class and today's class, that open chain structure of glucose, it doesn't explain some reactions of aldehyde. Doesn't explain some reactions of aldehyde. Okay, that's why we are going to discuss other structure of glucose that is called cyclic structure of glucose. The structure of glucose that we are calling it as cyclic structure of glucose. So let us discuss about the cyclic structure of glucose. Okay, students, one more thing I am saying now itself. You should not that is exit from the Zoom meeting because I will upload these videos not today, after some days. That means after 2 to 3 days I will upload. So don't miss the class. You have to come to the class. Okay. Why I am uploading videos means because the some people they might have network issues. Such that my voice won't be clear. So that is the reason. So you can have that is a quick look. You can have what I have said in the online class. So for seeing that, you can have a look. Because of that, I'm uploading. Okay. So in order, it is just for your reference. I'm uploading the videos. So it doesn't mean that you should not come to the class. You have to come to the class regularly because when you come to the class only, then only you will learn. Okay, students. Okay, that's why I'm not uploading video today itself. I will take some more days. Okay, be regular to class, students. First of all, so that I'm uploading videos for your reference only because of some people with having poor network connection, so that whatever the points they have missed, that they can see from the video. For that reason, okay, okay, students. Next, let us discuss about the okay. So here, cyclic structure of glucose. Let us discuss about the cyclic structure of glucose. Very important, students. Cyclic structure of glucose. What is this cyclic structure of glucose? Why this cyclic structure of glucose has put forwarded? Okay, why this cyclic structure of glucose has put forwarded? So why we are not uh, that is why open chain structure of glucose is not explaining? Because open chain of structure of glucose has certain drawbacks. It doesn't explain some reactions of aldehyde group. You know that, let us take the open chain structure of glucose. You know that this is the open chain structure of glucose. CHO, CHOH taken 4 times. Okay. And CH2, OH. Okay, CHO, CHOH taken 4 times and CH2, OH. So here, so this aldehyde group is there now. Okay, this aldehyde group, so it is an organic functional group. Aldehyde group is a functional group. So functional group means it will show some characteristics phenomena, students. So from first year, I will ask one question. So in first year, you have studied 3 types of organic compounds. What are those you have studied? Alkanes you have studied, students. Alkenes you have studied, and you have studied alkynes. So alkanes is having double bond and alkynes is having a triple bond. So there is an that is characteristic test for alkenes. Can you tell what is the test to identify an alkene functional group, students? What is the test to identify the alkene functional group? How can you identify an alkene is present in the organic compound? You have studied first year. At least I am expecting one, at least one student can answer the question. Any one student? At least I am expecting from one student. Alkenes. What is the characteristic test for the alkene students? Yes, correct, Sujan. Yes, reaction with bromine water. Yes, Moinuddin, you also correct. That is bromine water. Yes, yes. The bromine water test. How can you perform the bromine water test? Okay, bromine water test is a characteristic test for the alkene functional group. I will say how to perform the bromine water test. So here, bromine water test. How can you have to perform means you have to take the bromine water. Alkenes. These are usually that is having So this is a test tube. Okay, this is a test tube, and you can see that is alkene I am taking here. Okay, and here in the first test tube, I have taken an alkene. In second test tube, I have taken that is bromine water. I have taken that is bromine water. Fine. So this is the bromine water. Understood. Bromine water is having which color? Brown color. Bromine water is having the brown color. So this is the bromine water. So here alkene I have taken and here bromine water taken. In this test tube I have taken another compound alkane I have taken. It is also liquid. Now what you have to do means you have to add bromine water to both alkene as well as alkane versus alkene. When you are adding bromine water to alkane, it is in the first test tube, this bromine water will be like that only. This bromine water, you can see bromine water, brown color water in the alkane. But in the case of alkene, what happens means, so the bromine water lost its brown color. The bromine water lost its brown color. Why means because the bromine will add across the double bonds of alkene. The bromine will add across the double bonds of the, like this here. So here CH2 double bond CH2 plus bromine Br2 gives rise to CH2 Br and CH2 Br. Okay, 1,2 dibromoethane we are going to get. So you are going to get an addition compound. So this is an addition compound. So this is an ethene, that is ethene plus bromine gives rise to 1,2 dibromoethane you are going to get. So the bromine water lost its color. Decoloration of bromine water will take place. What is meant by decoloration of bromine water? Bromine water upon adding to the alkene, what happens means that bromine water is going to get decolorized. That means bromine water becomes colorless. Why means because of the formation of 1,2 dibromoethane. Because of the formation of 1,2 dibromoethane, that's why the bromine water is going to get decolorized. Like that, aldehyde is also having some characteristic test. Aldehyde is also having the characteristic test. What is the characteristic test for aldehyde? So, in order to find out the aldehyde functional group, like how you have find out the alkene functional group. Okay, in test tube A you have taken alkane. In test tube B you have to take alkene. You add bromine water to alkane as well as alkene. Alkane won't decolorize bromine water because there is no reaction between an alkane and bromine water, but there is a reaction between an alkene and bromine water. The test tube in which the bromine water will decolorize, the test tube is nothing but it is an alkene. Okay, the second test tube is an alkene. So like that, aldehyde is also having the characteristic functional group test. So it is having the test like tolerance test, okay, and it is having Fehling's test, and it is having 2,4-DNP test, and it is having Schiff's test, and it is having the sodium bisulfite test. I will explain one by one test because these reactions it will come in the previous chapters. Previous chapters you didn't had. That's why I will discuss that reactions once again. Okay, so that you can understand in an easy manner. Okay, just I will rub this one. Okay, so next let us discuss that reactions. So this aldehyde group. So when we are discussing the open chain structure of glucose, the first glucose, we have discussed some tests like tolerance test as Fehling's test. And now I will discuss about that is 2,4-DNP test. So what is this 2,4-DNP test? So let us forget about glucose and all. Let us discuss about that is our aldehydes. Let us come to the aldehyde reaction. So let us take the acetaldehyde, CH3. Okay, so this is our acetaldehyde. Okay, acetaldehyde. This is acetaldehyde. Plus to this acetaldehyde we are adding 2,4-DNP. What do you mean by 2,4-DNP? D stands for di, N stands for nitro, and P stands for phenyl hydrogen. P stands for phenyl hydrogen. 2,4-dinitro phenyl hydrogen. 2,4-dinitro phenyl hydrogen. This we are calling it as 2,4-DNP test. The structure, I will draw the structure. So here, phenyl group already you know. What is phenyl group? Phenyl group means nothing but you have to remove one hydrogen from benzene. That we are calling it as phenyl group. So this is our benzene ring. You remove one hydrogen. That we are calling it as phenyl. Okay. So I have removed one hydrogen, and this is next dinitro, phenyl hydrogen. Hydrogen formula. What is the formula for hydrogen? NH2, NH2. This is the formula for the hydrogen. This is the formula for the hydrogen. This hydrogen will attach to this phenyl group. This hydrogen will going to attach to the phenyl group. So I am attaching the hydrogen to the phenyl group. NH2, NH. NH2, NH. I am attaching. Okay. Just a minute. I will write in a clear manner. It is congested, place is congested here. I will write it clearly. Okay. So here plus NH2, NH. Like this, it is attached. So this is position 1. Okay, this is position 2. This is position 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, 2, 4 dinitro. At second position and fourth position, you have to attach nitro groups. At second position and fourth position, you have to attach the nitro groups. This is a nitro group we are attaching. Here also, we are attaching the nitro. NO2. Okay, NO2. So now, this aldehyde group, now it will react with 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrogen, and thereby what you are going to get here, water molecule will be eliminated, students. Carefully observe. Okay, you have to see here, oxygen from this one, hydrogen from this one will be eliminated. And you will get a double bond between carbon and nitrogen. You are going to get a double bond between carbon and nitrogen. And thereby what you are going to get here, you are going to get CH3, okay, CH, double bond with nitrogen, okay, NH, this you are going to get. Okay, this you are going to get. This is the 2,4-DNP test, and this compound, what we are calling it as, that is 2,4-DNP derivative. This is 2,4-DNP derivative. It is which color, students? You know, orange color. It is an orange color solid substance. It is an orange color substance. Okay. Acetaldehyde is having which group, students? Aldehyde group. Acetaldehyde is having the aldehyde group. This aldehyde group will participate. It will react with the 2,4-DNP and it will going to get an orange color derivative. We are going to get the orange color derivative, 2,4-DNP. This test won't shown by the glucose. Glucose won't show this test, students. Okay. This test, CH4, it won't show this test, students. Okay. It won't show. Aldehyde group won't show this test. Okay, that is the reason. CH4 it won't test, and that means open chain structure of glucose. So this is open chain structure of glucose. This open chain structure of glucose will change structure of glucose. It is failure to show this 2,4-DNP test. It won't show 2,4-DNP test. 2,4-DNP test, and it won't show this open chain structure of glucose won't show Schiff's test. It also won't show Schiff's test. You can ask what is meant by Schiff's test. Schiff's test is a test. It is used for characteristic reaction of aldehyde group. It is a characteristic reaction of the aldehyde group. I will write the Schiff's test here. All these reactions will come in the previous chapter, students. Okay. So this is an aldehyde you are taking again. Like acetaldehyde you take, students. CH3, C double bond O, H. Plus you have to take amine. This is the amine group, students. So now you can see here that is H2O will be eliminated here, and thereby what you are going to get, students? You are going to get that is CH3, CH double bond NR. So this functional group. So this is the test shown by the aldehydes. So what is the name of this functional group here? Here carbon is having double bond with nitrogen. Okay, carbon is having that is double bond with the nitrogen here. Carbon is having double bond with nitrogen. Okay, double bond is present. So this type of functional groups we are calling it as imines. We are going to get the imines. Aldehydes will react with amines to give imines. This imines we are calling it as Schiff's basis. This imines we are calling it as Schiff's basis because Schiff is a scientist who has prepared this first image. These tests won't shown by the glucose. Glucose won't show this test, students. Glucose won't show this test. Schiff's test won't show. And glucose doesn't show this sodium bisulfite test also, students. Sodium bisulfite. What is the formula? NaHSO3. Or this we are calling it as sodium hydrogen sulfide. Okay. The aldehyde group which is present in the glucose, it won't show 2,4-DNP test, as well as it won't show Schiff's test, as well as it won't show sodium bisulfite test. These three tests won't show. The aldehyde group which is present in the glucose is failure to show 2,4-DNP test, Schiff's test, as well as sodium bisulfite test. So that's why the open chain structure of glucose are having certain drawbacks. And moreover, there is one more drawback. Open chain structure of glucose doesn't explain the two crystalline forms of glucose. In reality, the glucose will exist in two crystalline forms. In reality, the glucose is existing in two crystalline forms. Okay. Okay. In reality, that is the glucose will exist in two crystalline forms. In reality, glucose is going to exist in two crystalline forms, alpha and beta. Alpha and beta crystalline forms. Glucose is existing in two crystalline forms. That means the open chain structure of glucose, that means what we have discussed in the last class, that open chain structure of glucose, how many structures we have drawn? Only one structure only we have drawn. D plus glucose only we have drawn. Have we drawn other structure of glucose? No. In last class we have drawn only one structure. With that one structure only we have done so many reactions. Okay, but in reality, glucose is having two crystalline forms, alpha and beta forms. Alpha form of glucose when you will get, and beta form of glucose when you will get, I will say, students. Alpha form of glucose, okay, it will obtained by, that is crystallization. Alpha form of glucose, it is having the melting point, that is 419 Kelvin, students. It is having melting point 419 Kelvin. It is obtained at 300 Kelvin, students. It is obtained at how much Kelvin? 300 Kelvin. Okay. From the, that is crystallization process. From crystallization. What do you mean by crystallization process, students? You have studied crystallization. Crystallization is a purification technique. Purification of organic compounds. You are taking the aqueous solution of an organic compound and you are heating continuously. The water content will evaporate and you will get the compound in the form of crystals. That we are calling as crystallization. So alpha form of glucose, when you are going to get, students, you are going to get at 300 Kelvin. At 300 Kelvin, you are going to get the alpha form of glucose, students. Okay. And it is having the melting point at 419 Kelvin. So it is obtained by the crystallization of, that is concentrated solution of glucose. Crystallization of concentrated solution of glucose, students. Next, beta form of glucose. Students, beta form of glucose. When you are going to get beta form of glucose, students. Okay. Beta form of glucose. When you are going to get the beta form of glucose, it is having different melting point. The melting point of beta form of glucose is 423 Kelvin. How much Kelvin, students? 423 Kelvin. Okay. And it will be obtained at what temperature from solution? At 371 Kelvin. That means it is obtained at higher temperature than alpha form of glucose. It is obtained at higher temperature than alpha form of glucose. Right, student? And it is obtained from hot and concentrated aqueous solution of glucose. It is obtained from hot. It is also obtained from crystallization, but it is obtained from hot and concentrated solution of glucose. That is the difference. That is the difference. So that means the existence of alpha form of glucose and beta form of glucose was not explained by the open chain structure of glucose. Was not explained by the open chain structure of glucose. Okay, the open chain structure of glucose didn't explain the reactions of that is 2,4-DNP. Okay, it doesn't explain the reactions of 2,4-DNP. It doesn't explain the reaction with Schiff's test. It doesn't explain about the sodium bisulfite test, and it doesn't explain. It doesn't tell about the existence of alpha and beta crystalline forms of glucose. So, in order to explain these properties, One more form of glucose has come into the picture. That only we are calling it as, that is, we are calling it as cyclic structure of glucose. That only we are calling it as cyclic structure of glucose. Students, I am ending the class here. If you have any queries, I will be here only for 5 minutes. You can answer regarding today's class. Students, please, because many students are going. Students, can ask queries. If you have any queries, feel free to ask. So I am giving time for you. So please ask queries, students. Because if I take more than 1 hour, many students will go out from the class. Okay, so that is the reason I'm ending here itself. If you have queries, students, please. Any queries regarding this? Is everything clear, students? Yes, Mohammed Moinuddin, you asked what is alpha and beta form. Yes, alpha and beta form, these are the two crystalline forms of glucose. These are the two crystalline forms of glucose which are differed in the, that is, glycosidic, that is acetal structure. It is differ in the, that is anomers. These two are, we are calling it as anomers. I will say what is meant by anomers. Alpha form and beta form, these two are the anomers. Anomers means which is having the different configuration at C1 carbon. You will get, you will be knowing what is alpha and beta form. Okay. Next, students, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, students. Students, you can see the first class, that is video in my YouTube channel. This students, you have anything you can ask. If you have any doubts, just you can ask.